We didn't even need the anvil to fall or the piano to fall. DDP dominates Kamaru Usman, 50-45s him. Kamaru Usman to have the balls and the fucking nerve to get on the mic with DC after getting 50-45 and say, what were the judges watching? I'll tell you what the judges were watching. They watched you suffer 8 concussions as you got kicked in the head repeatedly, beat up with DDP's jab, beat up with his right hand. And I don't even think you knew where you were at the end of there. You didn't just got caught. You also got dominated, my brother. Absolutely clueless Kamaru Usman. I'll give Kamaru Usman this because I don't want to just shit on him this whole video. Iron chin. His head must be fucking made of steel, because how many times did DDP kick this guy in the head? You got Usman wobbling around on jelly legs, and he somehow survives. How many flush knees to the face did Kamaru Usman eat and somehow not go down? I'll say that. Impressive chin from Kamaru Usman. A lot of heart. You know, kind of showed a little bit of a flurry at the end of there, round 5, so maybe you give him a 49-46, but Kamaru, for the most part, you looked old and you got dominated. I think the judges had it right with a 50-45. I know 2 gave it 49-46. You're lucky you didn't get 10-8'd. Slashed finish in that second round because you try and pull that bullshit with the, where DDP hit you, I believe, with a right hand and kind of scraped you a little bit with that thumb, but it was a closed fist. That wasn't really an eye poke. You would have gotten finished there. Even Hadley, I think that's the name of the ref who was officiating that fight, was sick of your bullshit with your fake fouls. But other than that, I'll say this. Beautiful game plan from DDP throughout the fight with the left head kick. Again, Usman eating those was absolutely insane. The knees in the southpaw position to deter Kamaru Usman all fight were absolutely beautiful. He knee-mogged Kamaru Usman. I mean, let's be honest. How many flush knees to Kamaru Usman's face hit? It was absolutely beautiful. DDP just looked much faster, you know, popping the jab, landing big right hands on blitzing. And, you know, I thought Kamaru Usman made some adjustments as the fight went on that maybe could have won him, but he just didn't have enough urgency. I just don't think he has enough on the feet at this point in his career to really have beaten Dricus Du Plessis, where he's kind of trying to draw out those knees by feinting the single leg, but just couldn't really find an overhand or like an uppercut to damage DDP at least consistently. Would like land a couple nice 2s every now and then, but couldn't really put anything together. And DDP did start to slow down. You know, like kind of the classic DDP where he's looking gassed, but he really isn't. But he was slowing down around that 3rd or 4th round. But just Usman couldn't really put on any volume or just really land anything. He just seemed so jab focused, and just really couldn't land anything else. And again, I thought a funny subplot in this fight was Kamaru Usman getting cracked throughout it, whether he was just getting brutally kicked in the body or kicked in the head, and then looking at Kerry Hadley, that's his name, to the ref for any help, like he's gonna help you win this fight. Just a sad kind of performance from Kamaru Usman. I just don't think he looked particularly great. The fact that his chin was able to hold up and he showed some heart does give me a little bit of hope that maybe he can fight one more time, and maybe he fights in middleweight and fights like a Brennan Allen, or in my opinion what Kamaru Usman's retirement fight should be against Bilal. It's the fight everybody wants. Again, DDP, I'll say this also about his performance, showed pretty good takedown defense for the most part. I think I think Kamaru Usman landed maybe one. It doesn't even say he landed takedown. There was kind of like I thought he did land one where it was like DDP immediately scrambled back up, but you know, Kamaru Usman just couldn't really find the range on any of these takedowns. Would like feint a lot of, you know, level changes in on those single legs, just couldn't really find anything. I think a lot of it had to do with DDP consistently throwing up that knee in southpaw. That, I mean, if that's landing in your face so many times, like how many more times are you really going to bother shooting? Also, I think Usman could never really find the range to shoot. It was just kind of a difficult performance from Usman, where if he's in his prime, it's a significantly much more interesting fight. Now, on the other hand, if you want to come out here and kind of hate on DDP a little bit, you could also be like, how did he not finish an 80-year-old welterweight? And why was Usman kind of hanging in there in the 5th round and kind of look good towards the end, which is a reasonable point, but I think it also points to the fact that Kamaru Usman is just tough as fucking nails. It took Leon Edwards to club this guy with a insane fluke head kick at the end of round 5 to knock him out. Kamaru Usman just really is that tough, and all credit to him. Again, beautiful performance for Dricus, where he just puts it on Usman from the start with big knees, big jabs, head kick, body kicks, question mark kicks. Just looked fucking great. There's not really that much to break down in this fight because it was just a Dricus Du Plessis beatdown of an old man, Kamaru Usman, who must have been on jelly legs at least 1,000 times, couldn't really find takedowns throughout this fight. And it shouldn't have been a shock. If you picked Kamaru Usman to win this fight, I do legitimately question a little bit. I get you couldn't have shaked that Chimaev performance. Kamaru Usman is not a Hamza Chimaev level grappler at any point in his career, or definitely at this point in his career as an old man. And he just didn't have it really throughout this fight. Stood in there again. Great chin and showed a lot of heart. Just couldn't really get it going, and just a tough loss for him. I would probably retire if I'm him. He's not going to. Let's fight below. DDP, he's going to push for the Strickland trilogy. Could I see the UFC doing it? Maybe. I mean, Imavov is not a star by any means, and I don't really think they want him to fight. I think Nasty Imavov, watch them give him like fucking Joe Pyfer or something. DDP versus Strickland would be the biggest fight to make. I think Strickland definitely can win that one, but again, DDP's style just seems to give Sean Strickland problems, and I want to see that fight because I'm obviously a massive fan of DDP, and I like Sean Strickland too. I don't really care for Imavov. I mean, kind of French, not kind of French, he is French. He actually is kind of French. He's also Dagestani, and he cheats a lot, but he does have a pretty fun style, but I don't really care for him. He should get the next title shot in a logical world, but watch him do DDP versus Sean Strickland. And just to recap all this, again, great performance from DDP. Probably should have gotten a finish. Tried going for some bullshit takedown in the 5th round that kind of gave Kamaru Usman a little bit of life. And Usman just looked old, didn't really have anything for him on the feet, couldn't set up the grappling whatsoever. Just dominance from DDP. Arguably 10-8'd him in the 2nd round. Kamaru Usman trying to pull that bullshit with that fake foul gimmick. But good win for DDP. Let's move on, though, because the rest of this card was interesting. I do have some interesting takes about this one, and especially about this next fight. Jared Cannonier versus CLD was a disgusting garbage slop fight where CLD didn't deserve to win this fight. I thought it was absolutely gross from him. Don't really think he showed much of anything, where all your problems that you have with Christian Leroy Duncan still exists, where he's doing all this dumb spinning shit that he doesn't really need to do, and he's kind of wearing himself out and tiring himself, when in reality, he's a great movement fighter with great straight punches. If he stayed out in range of this fight, he would have knocked out Jared Cannonier. Instead, Jared Cannonier was able to get this fight in the clinch constantly, make it interesting with the grappling and smudging up against the fence, and they would kind of both have exchanges where they'd land elbows on each other in the clinch, and CLD just seemed very comfortable trying to stay in the clinch and land elbows. I don't really know why he did that. When he was out in range, landing a bunch of kicks, landing straight punches, Jared Cannonier didn't look like he belonged in there. You know what I mean? And I know CLD had some moments where he initiated his own offensive grappling. Like, that's not really your game. You could have got a finish here. You could have been like, wow, CLD's finally not fucking around with an opponent. But instead, he's doing all these dumb spitting shit. Now, listen, it's cool when it works. Don't get me wrong. Like, highlights get you paid and highlights get you fans. But highlights don't necessarily equate to belts. And I think if you're a Christian Leroy Duncan fan, you do have to look at a fight like this and just be like, what the fuck is he doing? This was an easy knockout over a Jared Cannonier who looks every bit of 42 when he's out in range. When he's in the clinch, that's what Jared Cannonier wants at his old age. When he's out in range or when he's in the clinch, he looks a little bit younger, a little bit more spry. That's where he wants to be. When he's out in range, he looks like shit. And that was kind of the case in this fight, CLD nearly had a really bad foul, I want to say, in that 2nd round where CLD lands like this big spinning back kick that pushes Jared Cannonier down. And then he comes flying in with a flying knee as Jared Cannonier's down. And they kind of miss it because it hits, I think it either hit Jared Cannonier's neck or like clipped off his shoulder. It was just dumb. I was really not impressed by this fight whatsoever. Just really embarrassing. I think CLD has a great skill set that he just doesn't really know how to use, or he knows how to use it and just chooses not to. Like, no more of the spitting bullshit. That's what I tell him, and it's not going to change. And he might win another fight at middleweight, because I don't think middleweight is that high. Like, if he fights like an Izzy, or I don't know, he can still meme KO guys, because he has really special power and a special skill set. But I just wish he'd use his movement more, stay out in range, and just keep it simple. Keep it simple, stupid. That's what my 4th grade teacher told me. No need for this spinning bullshit all the time. It's cool if you're in the clinch and you want to throw like a spinning elbow every now and then when you're kind of up in the fight and you're doing well. I'm cool with that every now and then. I don't want to take away everything that makes you fun to watch. But you could be a great fun fighter with just moving around, landing straight punches, and sticking dudes with kicks, and you can get knockouts that way. It's as simple as that. And there was a moment where he throws a spinning back elbow at Jared Cannonier along the fence. Jared Cannonier just takes him down. You know what I mean? It was just, he couldn't avoid the clinch to save his life. It was embarrassing. So my stock in him does not increase at all. It just decreases because I'm like, this guy's fight IQ sucks, and he has all the tools to be a really, really dominant middleweight. I just don't really think he's using it. Jared Cannonier probably retire. I mean, I guess I'm happy I got the pick right, but whatever. Just not impressed by CLD. Chase Hooper subs Mitch Ramirez. Listen, I don't regret picking Mitch Ramirez whatsoever because Chase Hooper is still a one-trick pony. And it's not to hate on the guy because I like Chase Hooper. He is fun to watch with his flowy Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and he had a beautiful takedown on that single leg to get Mitch Ramirez down, gets him to the body triangle, was going to choke him out with one arm and then kind of lock that rear naked choke in with two. It was a great finish. I think Mitch Ramirez also hurt his knee. But Chase Hooper just gets, any like competent level lightweight chins him pretty badly, and whatever. He did say he's no more gooning. He's not doing any of that CIA bullshit. So I like that from Chase Hooper. I'm happy for him. I do like you. But this doesn't really change your style. I don't even, first of all, another point. Why the fuck was this the feature fight on this card? There were better. Delgado versus Bashi's a better fight. McMillen versus Montez was hyped up. That was a better fight. So many better fights on this card coming in than Chase Hooper versus Mitch Ramirez. Chase Hooper's not even that big enough of a name for me to give this guy a feature fight, but whatever. Good win for him. Mitch Ramirez just not really that good. Chase Hooper lives to see another day. Fatima Kline. This is women's MMA, and I don't say that sarcastically. I know I've said this on the channel before. Fatima Kline is the best women's mixed martial artist in the world right now. A woman who actually looks to hurt her opponent. I know it's something you don't really see too much in the sport. She actually tries to finish you, even though she didn't get a finish here and kind of was emoting a little bit. Probably could have got a finish. Beautiful takedown defense, can mix in the wrestling, was going suplex city in that third round, just puts a pace on you and just beats your head in with kicks. I think sometimes she gets clipped a little bit too much on the outside when she's, entering at or into her entries, but I just love watching her fight, whether she's taking you down with beautiful blast double legs or stuffing takedowns or just beating your head into a pulp. She was ripping Tabitha Ritchie's head apart in that third round, landing beautiful slams, landing nasty kicks. She's just a really fun watch. And it's crazy because you're going to have to watch Mackenzie Dern versus Jillian Robertson in about a month. That fight's going to fucking suck. And every Fatima Kline fight's a banger. Maybe eventually she will run into some kind of a wall. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think this is going to be one of the best women's mixed martial artists of all time. Might sound like a crazy take. I love Fatima Kline. Also, New York. She's from Holbrook, shout out Long Island. I think she trains out in Hyde Park. She's the fucking girl. I love Fatima Kline. Kick Tabitha Ritchie's ass. Give her somebody in that top 5. Once she wins in that top 5, we're giving her the belt. This is why you keep women's MMA around for Fatima Kline. She is so fun to watch, and I can't wait to watch just her career. She's not that old either. For some reason, I thought she was like a sneaky old person. She's born in 2000. She's only like 4 years. I think she's born in 2000. Let me look this up. I'm going to fact check this real quick. Fatima Kline. She's only 26, bro. She's not even that much older than me. She's like 5 years older than me, 4 years older than me. She's got a long career ahead of her. I think we're watching one of the best women's mixed martial artists you'll ever seen. She's only going to get better. I think the one thing I will say, like quick complaint about Fatima Kline, I do kind of wish, or I kind of wish she showed a little bit more better finishing instinct in this fight, where you think you watch her style and you're thinking, oh, she should kind of build more into these fights and kind of build to get finishes. She just didn't do it here. I think in the future she will. She's rapidly improving, and I'm really excited to see the rest of her career. Let's talk about Tommy McMillen versus Alberto Montez, because I wasn't really picking a side in all this beef. You saw so many people on social media just going at each other, where you're either team Tommy Guns or team Alberto Montez. Listen, I thought that was the fucking... Tommy McMillen having a fan base was one thing. You want to be part of the Sugar Show, man. The Sugar Associates, Montana. Alberto Montez fans popped out of nowhere. They didn't exist before this fight, and now they're going to go back into a hole. Nobody has to LARP as a fucking Alberto Montez fan anymore because they hate Tommy McMillen. I'm not saying I've ever been a Tommy McMillen guy. I don't think Montana has real gangsters, but Tommy McMillen might be proving me wrong, because from the get-go, this was going to be an ugly fight for Alberto Montez. Tommy McMillen just putting a pace on him with insane cardio, insane volume. You knew it was going to be rough for Montez to deal with that size. I thought Montez had moments. He countered McMillen twice in that first round and dropped him, but just couldn't really land enough volume consistently to beat Tommy McMillen. McMillen showed great body work in this, landing, I think, even some kicks in there early on. Just really good performance with Tom McMillen, where I think eventually when he meets a featherweight with more power and maybe more his size, will he get knocked out? Probably. I think he still leaves himself insanely open to being hit, but for him to break the significant strike record in a 3-round fight for featherweights in the UFC is pretty insane, and this is what, his third fight in the UFC. And Montez, again, I actually think he still could have won this. He just really didn't have enough volume, and the whole time watching this guy, I was so focused on the bald spot on him. Wasn't even focused on his fucking fighting. Tom McMillen kicks his ass, still on the gas pretty much the entire fight, throwing up middle fingers in there more, and gets a standing TKO victory. He wants to fight on that Noche card in September, which is shaping up to be shit. I mean, for a second tonight, it looked like Brandon Moreno versus Joseph Morales was going to be the main event. And then they roll out Alexa Grasso versus Manan Furiot. So I'm like, Jesus, what the fuck's the main event this going to be? Just please let Diego Lopez take Yair's head off. But either way, great win for Tom McMillen. Again, a little bit sloppy, but you can't hate on a guy who's putting on a pace like that with insane volume. And it is fun to watch. I know you might not love him because he's a dick and, you know, he's kind of a degenerate and he's like 29, and you might think, you know, that a full send at 29 is lame, which it is. And him's talking about, I haven't slept in 3 days, bro. I'm fucking girls all day. That is kind of, I mean, it's cool, but it's also lame. Like, you're almost too old for that. But you can't hate on that fighting style. It is a lot of fun to watch. But good win for Tommy McMillen. I'm really interested to see where this guy's career goes. I think he can be ranked. I don't think he'll ever be top 10 or anything, but I think he can definitely be ranked. Let's keep moving down the card. Talk about Austin Bashi versus Jose Miguel Delgado. Now listen, guys, I was at work for most of these prelims, but I would say I got to watch everyone. I didn't watch them nearly as closely. Now this was a funny fight because Jose Delgado has a moment in that first round where he throws a big knee up the middle when Austin Bashi shoots and connects badly. Austin Bashi responds by landing a big left overhand that drops Delgado. Now Delgado bounces back. Big left torches Austin Bashi later in that first round, drops him bad. You've got Delgado trying to grapple with him for some reason. They get back to their feet. Big knee drops Bashi again. Bashi's just grabbing on to Jose Delgado's legs, trying to survive. Round two, it's kind of Miguel Delgado landing more. Bashi just really couldn't land enough takedowns in this. I think the takedown defense of Miguel Delgado was like 10 out of 14. What was it? 3 of 4. Yeah, exactly. He only landed 3 takedowns against Jose Delgado in this. Round 3 was kind of weird because Jose Delgado was having all the success on the feet, and Austin Bashi somehow surviving, still kind of putting out pressure. He tries mixing in takedowns of his own. Could have got an easy finish at some point in this fight. Randomly tried to grab. But I think Jose Delgado, you watch him and you're like, wow, this guy, he's got future champ material, bro. This guy's so fun to watch. And then you're just like, something's missing, whether it's like leaving himself really open to be taken down or just like maybe lacking a little bit of that killer instinct sometimes. And also another thing, this guy seems to get like flash dropped in every single fight. Now he survived, so, you know, he doesn't get colder or anything, but he seems to just get dropped in every fight and then somehow bounce back. I don't really know, but good win for him. You know, showed good takedown defense, which I think was big for him. I think he's always had good scramble ability, but good win over Austin Bashi. I don't want to discriminate too much. He definitely could have got a finish in this one though. JPL versus Seok not Kong, that was racist. Listen, I thought Ko won this fight, in all honesty. I thought the first round went to him. He landed the bigger punches. I don't think that was controversial whatsoever. Second round I gave to JPL. I thought he was landing more, working the grappling a little bit more. And then the third round, you know, could JPL have stolen at the end there with kind of that takedown and I think a little bit damage at the end? Yes, I'm not really that mad about it because I like him, but I did think Ko won this one, and I think it's a tough loss for him because, like, JPL could honestly afford to lose this, and at least he kind of has a big presence on social media, and people know him, and I guess he's kind of a name as a prospect in the welterweight division. No average American really gives a fuck about a South Korean, or really anybody gives a fuck about a South Korean welterweight who's not exactly the most exciting guy to watch. And now he loses this and it kind of just takes the wind out of his sails. But it was a pretty good fight. I thought there were some really good exchanges in the pocket throughout this one. JPL took down Ko at times in this fight, pulling guillotine a few times. I thought Ko did a really nice job with straight punches with his jab to get through JPL's guard. JPL had Ko and look like a pretty bad guillotine in round 2, but you know, Seok Ko is throwing his finger up acting like it was nothing, but it did seem pretty tight. Round 3, again, I gave to Ko. I just thought he was landing a little bit more, and JPL's kind of lack of head movement was hurting him, and I just didn't really think he was doing enough. But a late takedown and just kind of maybe a little bit of a late exchange at the end of round 3 might have given it to him. It was what I'm not really that mad about it because I like him and I only got 2 picks wrong on this card, so it's kind of whatever. But a good win for JPL. You know, it was a close fight and he beat a pretty tough prospect in Seok Ko. Felipe Franco dominates Levi Rodriguez Jr., who then Tony Has Died starts posting this guy holding the Israeli flag. So that was definitely something. Felipe Franco, no clue why I picked this decision. I picked 2 dumb fights here. The Harris versus Goonsey fight, I picked a decision. This one, I picked a decision. I picked the winner in both. Why am I picking decision in light heavyweight and heavyweight fights? That's just stupid. But both guys were trading early. You know, Levi Rodriguez kind of hurt Felipe Franco, but Felipe Franco just kind of showed grappling levels in this, level changing, taking him down, and got him mount multiple times, lands big elbows in that first round. Second round comes, Felipe Franco hurts Levi Rodriguez early with like a left or a right. I kind of forget what he hurts him with. Shoots for some reason, but then takes him down, gets a bat, mount, and kills him with ground and pound. And then Levi Rodriguez out here complaining about the stoppage. Your head was getting bounced off the canvas. Your arms were flailing. Seemed pretty fair to me, buddy. You know, whatever. Nobody really cares about either of these guys. Ezra Elliott versus Damian Anderson. I was watching this while I was sitting in the car about to leave for work. I'll share kind of quick thoughts on this. Damian Anderson, you could clearly tell he was a complete BJJ nerd. Would just kind of be perfectly fine staying on bottom. Didn't sprawl at all. Showed pretty poor wrestling. And Ezra Elliott, you know, short notice. I get it wasn't really that fun of a fight. But, you know, stayed on Damian Anderson pretty much the entire one like a leech. Mat returning. A lot of single legs, a lot of takedowns. I think he broke the featherweight takedown record in literally his first fight, which is pretty impressive. Had like a Darce choke in there for a little bit. Again, was mostly just a fight where he just put constant pressure on Damian Anderson. Damian Anderson couldn't stuff any takedowns. That's all I really got to say. Really showed elite level wrestling and grappling. I want to see more of his game. I don't want to like shame him for not exactly the most exciting performance. It was on short notice, and yeah. Alvin Correa versus Stuart Nickel. Kind of a disappointing performance from Alvin Correa, who, you know, I was kind of saying he's one of the best unranked flyweight prospects in the UFC. I still would take Ochoa over this guy, by the way. I've said that for a while. But just disappointing. How do you not finish Stuart Nickel? You know what I mean? Where, like, I thought Correa was landing more throughout the fight, but it was more like he'd go, like, tapping the body or just, you know, working the body and then just tapping him with the jab. Like, really showed no real killer instinct and consistently had Stuart Nickel backed up to the fence. And Nickel had a few okay moments where he'd, like, blitz in and land. But I just not really great from Alvin Correa. He would get taken down. Showed good scrambling, even threw up some sub attempts and nice reversals and takedowns of his own. I think people were being a little bit too critical on this guy, mostly because I think so many people bet on him to knock Stuart Nickel out. But I would have liked if he showed a little bit more killer instinct and actually finished Stuart Nickel, who is just not that good whatsoever. Goonsey gets knocked out by RJ Harris. Shout out Rough and Rowdy. Goonsey comes out here and he's like chopping calf kicks, and then he gets hit with an uppercut and he dies. You know, whatever. It's probably the end of his career. And then I didn't even watch Dowdy Barbosa. She pulled her best Charles Oliveira impression and subbed Anna Melisano. A good one for her. I actually thought this was a pretty fun card with a lot of fun finishes. You learn a lot about CLD. Probably he's not it. Kamaru Usman should retire. And DDP, happy to just see this guy back in the win column with a very fun striking performance where he showed, I would say, for the most part, improved takedown defense. And, you know, the moves that he had in Southpaw where it was flashing that knee up the middle, deterring Usman from grappling, throw that head kick. Just stuff of legends, stuff of beauties. DDP, bro, we are back. We are coming for that belt we're coming, I'm stuttering. We're coming, Sean Strickland. We're coming to get that belt back. We're going to win the trilogy fight. And then on Chimaev, you know, if you ever want to, you know, do it again, we're just going to submit you too, buddy. But a good win for DDP. Tough loss for Kamaru Usman. Fun card overall. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. The doctor is signing off.